Good morning and welcome to the orientation session for what is going on in the Good Food Network this month. So as always, I like to open this up to a lot of people. Let's see if we can actually do a Facebook Live at the same time. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. It depends how Zoom is letting us do things. Yes, continue as Luca. Yeah. It might go to my personal page. It might go to my business page. Let's see. Share on your own timeline. Yeah, it won't let me do it to the business page. I thought so. Okay, that's okay. We're going to just record. Sometimes they change things, however they're feeling. Okay, so we're recording. We are ready to go. Hello, good morning. My name is Lucas Simmons. I have my cup of coffee with me. I've had my breakfast. I'm glad to see you here. And the goal for this session is to get to know what's going on in the Good Food Network, to give you a taste test, peek behind the scenes. What is it? And why might you want to join it? I am a holistic nutrition practitioner. I'm one of two over at Histamine Haven, and my work is always in supporting people who have complex health issues, make that connection to food. It's why I call myself Good Food and You, because I like to marry the two together. So I graduated from the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition back in 2014. I was awarded the Clinical Excellence Award this year. So I've been working hard at this for the last 10 years. I love what I do, and I love the power of food. It's really grossly underrated. What we put in our mouths 3 to 5 times a day has the potential of supporting our body and supporting our health goals, actually. Um, and it doesn't need to be as strict or as stringent or as clean as you think. Eradicate that word from your vocabulary, friends. There's no purification process here. There's a how do I take care of a human business going on. That's it. That's all. Let's just eat real food. Okay, that's nice. We are talking about, so here's how it works. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of things and know that below the replay of this, there's going to be a few links out on different things if you're interested in joining us. So the first link is going to be, better write this down. The first link is going to be to get the full information on the Good Food Network. And in there, you're going to see a couple of different things. As a matter of fact, let's take you over to what it's going to look like so that you can see what that page looks like. So it's on my website and there's tons of information. So this has up top, if you'd rather listen to a recorded version instead, then I read through it at this video there. There is buttons for register here all along. So when you're ready, you hop in. What are the different parts of the network? It's a monthly subscription service. It's $35 a month. Helps you set up the skills to take care of your own health and that of those who join you at your table. So every month we've got a main topic. There's some foundational courses. There's a weekly live component that we toss in for good measure and lots of different things. So a special monthly live class this month, we're talking about supplements for a main topic. And then there are some recipes, seasonal explorations, on-demand foundational courses, and cooking classes. So this is the place to dig as deep as you need to dig. Some people will dig right to the bottom. Some will just skim the surface. You get to do and call the shots on how much you want to glean from the network every month. Because our goal is for you to feel real good. So in the orientation session, which we are currently doing, the replay lives right there, so you can come back to it whenever you want. Now, the part that I want to highlight, how do I know if the Good Food Network might be a good fit for me? So look for that section on that page, and then look for this next one. How do I know if the Good Food Network might not be right for me at this time? This is going to help you determine if it's a yay or an A. I totally have allergies. Excuse me. Smoke from the fires. Anybody speak my language? Woo! All right, so down here, we've got a little bit more detail below this, but click here when you're ready to join the network and you'll get instant access as soon as you've registered. So your monthly membership of the Good Food Network includes curated content. There's a monthly orientation call. There is a Food is Medicine weekly class. There's an exclusive live class. There's a bunch of on-demand courses as well. I'll show you what that looks like. Important information before you sign up. So I want to highlight this month. We have a free trial period. You get 7 days to try it. And if you don't like what you're seeing, I will refund you the fee by the end of the week. You just have to ask for it. And I tell you how to do it. This will cost me $5 for you to leave the network. I will absorb the $5. If you are the person who's like, I have a week and I just want to go in and I want to watch that 3-hour class and then I want to leave, that's cool. You can do that. And I will refund you the money because we are here about accessibility. And if you just want access to that 3-hour Vitality Bones class for not a penny, this is how you'll do it. Do I think you'll just do this? No, I think you'll stay. You'll see how much content there is in here and you'll want to stick around. Okay. Join the Good Food Network. There's registration links all along. That's it. That's all. Okay, so I wanted to show you that page because it gives you the full rundown. So that's going to be the main link, number 1, below where you're watching this video. I'm going to drop a second link and I'm going to put in a link for a free discovery call. You can have a chat and see if this is something for you. So I like to have these chats. I like to have them available because I think some people need to have a conversation first to see if it's the right fit for them. I will tell you, if you're the person who's like, yeah, I need to figure out if it's right for me or not, you're on the right track. You probably are the right person for this network. In some cases, you'll be somebody who actually needs one-on-one support instead. Now, the reason I do the Good Food Network is to make it an accessible price point. There is zero hand-holding from me, except for automation of notices of things coming up if you want to join. There's a whole group chat where I post where there's always something new. Like, it's really, once you get into the rhythm of it, it's pretty easy to navigate. It takes maybe a week or so to get used to it and get the flow of where to find things. But I'll tell you, once you're in, there is so much content at the ready for $35. Doesn't matter what the value is. This is just because I have so much content. I want to make sure that there is a place where we're doing a focus so you'll know this is going to resonate with you. And this month's content is all about bones. We're talking for osteoporosis, osteopenia in particular. Now, we're also talking about joints, skeletal tissue, minerals. We are talking about inflammation and what drives all of this. So even if you don't have osteoporosis or osteopenia, but for example, you have a thyroid condition, or you have type 2 diabetes, or you are going through menopause, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, bone density issues show up in people who have thyroid issues, type 2 diabetes, menopause. How do I reinforce my mineral matrix? How do I make sure my skeletal system carries me on into my later years? If you just said yes to this, you need to join us in the network. I'm going to tell you that will answer your question right away. Do you want to keep osteoporosis, osteopenia at bay? Do you have it, and do you want to slow down the progression? Either or, the work is the same. And this is good for all ages. We build our bone tissue until the age of 25. And then we talk about ways to maintain it and to maintain that density as we get older. Some of the big drivers of what's going on is going to be, it's going to be really interesting stuff that is relevant to 2024. That is also steeped in real food. One of the secrets of this is that you start to notice patterns in the things that I say, and you're like, oh my God, it's the same work for everything. You are correct. So if you've never joined the network, but you have bone density concerns, I would love to see you in the network this month. I really think you would get good use out of it. And the summer months are a really great time to have a little bit more languishing time. And, you know, all the television shows and the Survivors and all those like Bachelor shows, those are not even going on right now. It's not true, Luca. There's Amazing Race Canada going on. RuPaul just wrapped up, so you don't have an excuse. August is a really great time to dive into things for yourself. So I'm going to start us off with the top 10 ways your bones are asking for help. How do we know if you have bone issues that are starting to brew or currently already there? Very obvious one, osteoporosis, osteopenia are your top 2. That is obvious. It's obvious when you have osteopenia, which is the beginning stages of osteoporosis. It's a bone density up to, I think, is it -2 or -2.5 or something like that. And then as you get deeper into bone density loss, now it becomes osteoporosis. So osteopenia tells us you are on a trajectory to get towards osteoporosis. Yeah, if that's you, pal, you need to join us. Number 3, do you have thyroid issues? What? That has nothing to do with my bones, Luca. Au contraire, mon frère. Thyroid has everything to do with bones. Your thyroid is your metabolic thermostat of the body, the engine of the body, if you will, that governs so many things. One of the major things it governs is the bone building process of the body, the bone mineral matrix retaining processes of the body. Yeah, your thyroid. And if you're struggling with the thyroid, if you've had hypothyroid, if you've had Hashimoto's, if you've had hyperthyroid, if you've had Graves', if you've had an underactive thyroid, if you're on Synthroid, if you're on levothyroxine, if you're on desiccated thyroid, all of those are indicators that your thyroid is struggling. If you have cold hands and feet, if you are losing hairs on your eyebrows or on your arms or on your legs and you don't need to shave anymore. That's a fun party trick, but it could be an indicator of thyroid. Do you have cracked heels? That can be another indicator of thyroid. So for anybody who's struggling with thyroid, if you're curious to know the connection between the thyroid and your bone density, then you're going to want to join us on the Good Food Network, because we have a specific topic about it. If you are on any medications that deplete calcium or impede with bone building mechanisms, Synthroid is one of those medications. Proton pump inhibitors depletes calcium or make it harder for you to actually get the calcium into your system long term. There's a bunch of other medicines. I can't remember what they are because they're in the classes in the Good Food Network. So proton pump inhibitors, prednisone. Long-term use of prednisone has the potential of depleting your bone density. Some of the medications around reproductive things, in particular reproductive cancers, so breast cancer, prostate cancer, the medicines are brilliant for helping us through when that diagnosis comes around. But the long-term impacts of those medications are that they deplete your calcium stores. So a lot of what we're talking about this month will resonate with you and be some of these good ideas to help slow down that loss of mineral long term. If you've been told you have brittle bones or your bones break easily, number 5. Number 6, going through menopause. Going through menopause is all about hormonal changes. And when those hormonal shifts come around, our ability to retain our bone building mechanisms and keep that balance with everything that needs to happen to retain our bones, that starts to struggle. It's why we see an increase in osteopenia, osteoporosis diagnosis in aging bodies, in particular female bodies, tied to the estrogen question. Bone building is a hormonal act. Yeah, bone building and bone maintenance is a hormonal act. Thyroid and estrogen. If you have type 1 or type 2 diabetes, you have the potential of depleting your bone density as well. You're at higher risk of it. It means if you have those diagnoses, you are more likely to get osteoporosis than the next person. The work we're doing this month would help you prevent that or slow down the progression of it at least. Do you have painful joints or creaky knees? That can be a really good indicator that there are some bone processes that are not necessarily working well. That might impact your ability to retain that bone density. If you've had a lot of dental cavities, if you see a lot, so my kiddo had 12 cavities in the span of 6 months, from 0 to 12 at the age of 6. A little bit devastating. It is what actually got me into nutrition, funny enough. But that is an indicator. If you cannot deposit mineral stores in your bones, in your teeth, what do you think's happening to your bones? If you can't get them in your teeth, it's the same thing happening in your bones. So building bone tissue, maintaining strong bones is going to be exceptionally important for those who've had a lot of cavities. Now, my daughter's 19. She hasn't had a cavity since she had those 12 filled in at the age of 6. So we've turned it around. I hope, and I'm crossing my fingers that the good work we put in until she started to feed herself has been good work. But, Number 10, how do you know if you have issues in the skeletal system? If you have any kind of condition that ends with the la terminaison, the finishing, that's not the word, the English word, that the word ends in itis, tendonitis, plantar fasciitis, those kinds of things where it's impacting bones, joints, muscles, tissues of the skeletal system or that attach to the skeletal system. You would do well to join us in the Good Food Network. Okay, I've got more than that. Okay, let's go through the big guys. Those are the top 10. Now we're going to go through the little guys, sorry. So what else? If you, okay, oh yeah, if you have receding gums. Receding gums can be an indicator that there's a hard time mineralizing your bones and your teeth. Losing height. If you're getting shorter, well, part of it could be posture related, but as we get older, that can be a really good indicator that we're losing some of the density of our bone tissue and we're starting to lose height. Stooped posture. Again, could be because you're sitting at a computer all day long, but could be an early indicator that something's going on. If going paleo really, really helped you with your main issues, you, pal, are at a higher risk of developing osteoporosis and osteopenia. Because of the foods that are taken out in a paleo approach, the potential they can bring to a body when we can't digest them properly or when they're not properly prepared, grains in particular, beans, nuts, seeds. So I cannot tolerate nuts and seeds very well. I can tolerate seeds a lot better, but not nuts. I can't do a lot of nuts. I would consider, if I was my own client, I would consider myself at a higher potentially risk of developing osteoporosis. So for me, I know the things I talk about in the Good Food Network are of particular deep importance for myself. When I have allergies because of the fires, my nose gets really itchy and I sneeze, so apologies. If you have had long-term inflammation, chronic disease of any sort, if you've gone through cancer treatment, you are at higher risk of getting bone density issues. So, do you want to join us? Oh, I'm happy to hear it. Remember, you can join us for free, yeah? Okay, let me take you through what it looks like. So let's get a sneak peek. We'll go behind the curtain to see what is in the Good Food Network. This serves two purposes. One, to give you a sneak peek so you can see what there is and get a little bit more familiar with the moving parts. And number two, if you're going to join us, you're going to want to know how to find your way around. And I do have a training video that gives you a little bit more detail. But this morning, I want to show you what you're getting when you join us in the Good Food Network. Let's go back to this page. So here, once you purchase your membership, once you're subscribed, you get a password or you get an invitation to join me on Good Food Network. So this is on a program called Practice Better. Practice Better is just the platform that I use. It's a Canadian company owned by women and is a nice price point, which allows me to keep this price point low at $35. Otherwise, it would have to be $150 a month because the other platforms are so expensive. So on here, there's a couple of things. This is your homepage. This is what it looks like. You'll see there's a couple of things up top right here. On the left, you have your menu. If you find yourself where it kind of looks like this, I want you to expand your window. When you make your window as big as it can, you get the best view possible of the network and the hub and everything where everything is housed. So we've got our upcoming sessions here. So this is the orientation call. So when I wanted to join this morning, I just clicked this little camera icon. This adjusts to the time where you are. So if you are joining us from Ontario, this will say 11 a.m. Mountain, 11 a.m., whatever your time is, Central, I suppose, and it'll tell you the date. So know that this time is adjusted to be to your timeline. So that's a nice little tip to know. Now you'll see we have a couple of live sessions. Next week, we've got one on Thursday morning. The following Thursday, another one. And then on August 21st, we've got a live monthly class as well. So you're going to see all of the Zoom live sessions links here. All you have to do when you want to join is click on the camera icon and it lets you join. To get to the Good Food Network, you've got a list here on the left. I want you to click on programs. GF Network, Good Food Network. Here you are. This is the program. This is what it looks like. So here we've got lots of different moving parts to it. So I just want to give you a little tip here. If you want to scroll through, you make sure you're on this section. If I'm up here, I can't scroll through. All of these are separate, so it makes it a bit tricky. Just make sure your cursor is on the right part of the page to scroll. and you'll get to see all the modules. So we know we're in the modules because here it's highlighted on the left, modules. So you have 12 modules to get through. Start here, kitten. When you first join, jump in there. There's some instructions and extra information, a bit of training in there to help you find your way, giving you tips on how to best utilize the Good Food Network. We have the schedule and checklist. So let's go take a look to see what that looks like. To open the module, you just click on the title of the module. So here, this is the topic. So we're doing bone health. These are your live sessions, the ones that are tied to a time. So if you're 51 like me, this is like the Cosby Show on Thursday night at 8 p.m. before we knew that Bill Cosby was about. Yeah. Or A Different World at 8:30 because you also like that show. Because you couldn't wait to be a university student. That was just me. Oh, okay. So this is what's tied to time. So because in the network, we have a combination of live sessions, recorded sessions you can access whenever you want, and written content. So the live stuff is on our calendar because that's live. So you have the potential of joining us in person for any of these sessions. You can also print it up to have a copy for yourself. I always do, so that I can at quick glance know what's coming up and know what I need to be ready for. Then we've got a checklist for each month. So this is to help you get the best use out of the network. So print this one next. You'll see just down below, download and print this month's checklist just below to have on hand if you wish. Download to your computer, go to your downloads folder and print. Now, this is a really handy one-pager to have because it lists all of the potential things you can do. So these are the different modules that are in the Good Food Network. I do training for two things and I always mix the two up. So the Good Food Network, here we've got our schedule and worksheet. Oh, this is the one you're in. And once you've printed this, you can use the box here to put a check mark. Now, what I recommend you do with the rest of this checklist, you have space on the left-hand side, use that space to jot down the order in which you'd like to approach the content. So all of this is going to disappear by the end of the month. So if you're just joining us today on August 1st, or even on August 10th, if August 10th is when you watch this video and you're like, oh my God, I need to get this content before the end of August 2024. Join us tout de suite. You'll get access to it about 5 minutes after you register. Not even 1 minute. And go through the content is going to be the order in which you want to do this. And we'll go through them all. I'll give you tips and tricks on how to choose. I really like to recommend people set aside 1 hour a week. If you set aside 1 hour a week, you will get very good use out of the Good Food Network. And if you can dedicate 2 hours a week, then you are a Gold Star member and you will get through probably all of the content. Okay. Yeah, 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours. I think you would. Maybe closer to 3. So this is the kind of thing. Okay, if you're doing 2 hours a week and there's 4 weeks, that's 8 hours, $35. You just got to steal per hour. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. So going through this, organize by numbers on the left here, what's the order you want to do, and scratch out the ones you don't even want to do. I don't want to read this topic on bones. I don't care. I know I have bone issues. I'm not even going to look at it. Forget it. There's nothing to print. There's nothing to do in it. It's really just explaining why we're doing bones. Oh, I don't care. I'm going to scratch that off. Some people want to know the biochemistry behind. Oh, I'm going to make this first because that'll set me up to better understand how to move through the content and what it is I'm doing in the network this month. Excellent. Do it then. Now, these are all the different moving parts. I will tell you what they are once we get into them because it'll make more sense when you can see them. Now, down below this is one last sheet. So this is a relatively new addition. Actually, I've been doing it for a year now. So this worksheet is a really good one-pager to have as your cheat sheet. I do a similar worksheet, doesn't look as pretty for my clients. And what we do every time we meet, we put on their recommendations that we talk about on this sheet. So they have a one-pager that lives on the back of a cupboard in the kitchen or perhaps tacked to the fridge that gives you that daily reminder of like, oh, did you do the thing? And you get to slot in 3 to 5 things to do this month. So I want you to prioritize 3 to 5 things, practical things that we talk about as solutions in each of these classes, because each of these classes offers solutions. We are solution driven here. And pick one each time you watch something. So somewhere between 3 to 5 things you'll want to do, and then choose. So at the top, why I want to address or work at this month, and maybe why or how it shows up in my body. So I have osteoporosis. I want to make sure that my thyroid is working really well. That's going to be my personal goal this month. Excellent. Or I have plantar fasciitis. I really want to address inflammation this month. Excellent. So write it down so that it's particular to you. This is part of the secret of making the network work for you, is to make it your own by making yourself go jump through the hoops, if you will, but do the work. Now, each class that I offer, we have an action or to do in each class, at least one, mostly 3 in each, most sometimes 27. I want you to pick one or 2 or 3 tops out of each thing you watch, and then jot it down. Is it going to be is it related to food? Is it related to lifestyle or other things? So for example, next week, we're talking about activation, the missing piece driving the loss of density. So in it, I will talk about why activation is important. So here, find sprouted quinoa, switch my bread to a sourdough bread. Those are going to be the practical solutions. I haven't built that one yet, but I'm pretty sure that's what it'll be. So you jot these down. In a couple of weeks, bone density loss and the insomnia connection. So we're talking about how when insomnia is around persistently, what kind of impact it has on your bone density. So in lifestyle ideas, I am going to work on sleep. I know Luca shared a link to a class, so I'll make sure when I'm ready to do that piece that class is there. I'll put the link here so that I can get to that work when I'm ready. That's the way that you use this worksheet. And as with the others, you can download here and print it out for a version to have on your own. And once you've completed all of these, here's the lovely part. This up top right, you'll see says mark completed. If you click on this, I want to confirm I'm completed. It takes you through to your progress and activity. So it shows you what you've done, and what you haven't done yet has the potential of getting completed. And then you can, I like to just go back to my program because I always like to navigate from there. Makes it a bit easier for me. Now, we just went through the schedule and checklist. It's indicated as complete. Oh, how fun is that? Yeah, and so that makes it so next time I log in, I know I've already looked at this. I don't need to go in and finish it. I've already touched on this module. You can go back and view it again if you want. You don't need to. We've got a main topic. You can go through there. If you have any questions about your network subscription, everything is going to be in here. Now, that's kind of the administrative section. I call it start here. So that's kind of the, businessy side of things. Now, the pre-recorded content. This is one of the other sections. So we've got 3 subsections. There's pre-recorded content. This is like on demand. So you can watch it whenever you want. It's like Disney or Netflix or Crave. Live sessions is like live network television. So you can join us live. Every live class in the network has a replay. So if you are not able to join us on Thursday mornings, but you wanted to catch that class on activation, then you'll be able to watch the replay. So if it's a live session, slot it under here. We only have 2 types of live sessions. And then we have written content at the end of the month. So let's go through it in the order it's laid out. So we've already done the start here section. In the pre-recorded section, you have 3 on-demand things that you can watch. The first one is a half-hour class, and it talks about why scratch cooking is so important. You would want to take this if you have somebody who has something ending in itis, or you're interested in reducing inflammation through the foods you're eating. This is a foundational piece that all of my clients actually get. They get a whole module on scratch cooking. And so this is one of those pieces you can access when you join the Good Food Network at a fraction, 1/100th of the cost. No, even less. It's way cheaper to do the network than it is to see me one-on-one. And for the next 2 months, it's way more reliable. Yeah, I'm in the process of moving. So scratch cooking is a half-hour class. You can take a peek through here. This month's module, let's get into the concept of scratch cooking. It is, 34 minutes and 53 seconds. This is a class I did a while ago back in 2019, but it's still relevant. And we talk about, there's a butter chicken recipe, which you can click on to get. And then there's handouts and recipes in this module as well. If you're not going to watch it, go in and print the recipe at least, or print up also the handout, because this is what the handout looks like. It takes a while to load it up. So the handout is a worksheet that you can fill out as you're going through the class. This helps you understand a little bit. Is this about eating gourmet? Is this about keeping it simple? Trick question. Yeah, so it's just a one pager. So that helps you get through that video content a little bit smoother. Okay, so this one is there. When you're done, you hit mark completed and it's done. Ding, which is so nice. Then you go back to your program. And for example, if you're just printing the recipe, but you're not going to watch it, and you've already decided on your worksheet you're not going to do it, okay, then just mark it completed so you know at least you don't need to go into that one. Now, this is the golden jewel of the Good Food Network, is a 3-hour class. This is the only spot it is currently available. I don't have it available anywhere else because I built it just for the Good Food Network. So it's disappearing at the end of August. This is the only spot you'll be able to get it, and it will go away at the end of August. So if you wanted to get into this 3-hour class, this is the only way you'll get it, is to get into the network. Once it is available on its own, the cost of that will be $60. So you're getting it at a fraction of the cost. You just have to watch it before the month is due. So we've got the vitality bones. Sometimes if the images are there too long, we lose them. But here it should say vitality bones. So Vitality Bones is a 3-hour class that goes deep into explaining the biochemistry of building bones and maintaining bones and joints and all of the tissues involved in the structural system and what it takes to look after them. And it's a long course. There's 13 videos. So what I do in the handout, if this is one of the ones you're going to be doing, I encourage you to print this up before you get started. So this is your handout. And I just want to show you on that first page, you have a little section down here with the numbers 1 through 13. That's to indicate the videos. I don't know anybody who's going to sit and watch 13 videos in a row. So I encourage you to print this up, and this helps you keep track of which number of video you stopped at. So as soon as you finish a video, circle the number on the sheet corresponding to the video number, and that way you'll know where to start next time you pop in. Yeah. So you can go through, there's 13 videos all the way down through here. There's a lot of them, but it's broken down into sections to make it a little bit easier to comprehend. They're shorter videos, 15, 20 minutes maybe. Some of them, this one's a little bit longer, like a whole 30-minute calcium dive. What exactly is calcium, and is it all it's cracked up to be? Yes and no. And then we go into 5 solutions and what you can do and what that looks like. And then at the end, we talk about your recipes. So there's extras at the bottom. And then when you're done, I marked it completed already. Haha. So when I want to go back to my program, I can just hit the back browser on my browser, and it takes me back to my modules. That is the crown jewel of the whole month. If you set 1 hour aside, you'll get to watch this over the course of the month. You will get very good use out of it. And this is good for people who are practitioners and people who are just wanting to know how their body works. This whole, it was originally a class I put on for the Light Cellar, and I've put on for a few groups around the city and in Cremona over the years. But it's a class that needed revamping and renewing. And so I've upgraded it to bring that metabolic piece to it. Metabolic health drives everything and sets us up to have robust health. So osteoporosis is a sign of a body struggling. So we're going to just build that robust health for you. And we do it through that class. Now there's a scratch cooking class. Every month we have a 90-minute cooking class that my kiddo and I did a number of years ago with some junior high kids. And we recorded it, thank goodness, for posterity. And this month we're doing 90 minutes on curries. You have a butter chicken, a green type curry, a korma chicken. You could do lentil curry if you want. You could do butter chickpeas instead of butter chicken. We talk about how to cook rice. We have paleo options, low histamine options. We have vegan options. We have dairy-free options. Most of the recipes are gluten-free. Actually, they would be in this one. They're all gluten-free. So everybody's allowed at this table, and you can amend it to be what it is you need it to be. This whole concept was to help junior high kids who are interested in cooking learn some of those basic skills. Did you know you can make your own curry paste? We give you curry paste recipes in this one. And my kid is the cutest. She was in grade 9 at the time. This was in early 2020 when we were all in our homes, not talking to each other. And let me see if I can find one where she is. There she is in the background cooking. She's so cute. Anyway, she'd be embarrassed if I was doing that. So come and join us. And if you're not even going to watch it, at least could you print the recipes up? And when you do, click mark completed. Ding dong, you're done. Let's go back to our program. Those are the 3 pre-recorded content that are on demand. That means watch it whenever you want. We also have live sessions. Every Thursday morning we meet and we have a live session. So these are our sessions this month. Activation, the missing piece, driving loss of density. Activation of your nuts, your beans, your seeds, your grains, your legumes. What does it mean? How do you do it? How are you going to start it in your own home? Vitamin A, the missing nutrient. Spoiler alert, yes. It's always going to be a yes. On the 22nd, we'll be talking about bone density loss and the insomnia connection. So for anybody who has insomnia, who is worried about that bone density piece, we're going to talk specifics for you. And then we're going to talk about seaweed, the forgotten bone builder, and joint builder. This is particular to joints as well. In particular, those who have creaky joints. So if you're worried, so this is for me. So for those of us who've had creaky joints, who've had a lot of cavities, and who are worried about getting osteoporosis long-term because there's a lot of inflammation going on, seaweed is going to be one of the things we want to bring in. And we'll talk about what it looks like. So each of these are 30 minutes, and every time there's a session, there's a replay here. So we get the most recent one here, and then the past ones down there. So you have until the end of the month to watch them all until they disappear. Yeah. And then we have a live class coming this month. Our class is Supplement Savvy for bones. So this is a list of supplements. I don't usually do supplements that much. But when it comes to osteoporosis and osteopenia with my clients, we absolutely dive into supplements. So this is going to be a class where it is the supplemental question. And is it calcium or is it not calcium? What other pieces do we need before we even consider calcium? Those types of questions. So this is going to be all included in the cost of the Good Food Network. We're doing it Wednesday, August 21st at 9 a.m. There's a replay that comes. Now, here's the deal. This is a class you can also just take on its own. The class by itself is $25. Those who are in the network get it for free. They get it as part of the package deal. So for an extra $10, you get everything else we're going through. So you can take the live class itself if that's all you want, or you can join us in the Good Food Network and have access to this plus a few other things, recipes and what have you. So you get to choose what kind of support do you need. And the replay is down here when it's available. It hasn't happened yet. All right, so those are the 2 live components. If we scroll, we've got one last section. This is the easiest section, and this is where I recommend you start. So we've got recipes, a weekly good food challenge, and a module on eating with the seasons. This is about eating seasonally. So we're going to start with the recipes. This is also accessible. You can get just the recipes. The recipes themselves are $5. They get emailed to you. In the network, you just have to come and print them up. That's the difference. So we've got slow oven roasted tomatoes. The email just went out. Breakfast sausages, wraps, Nature's Way, slow cooker chicken soup, and gelatin bites. And we've got all the printables down here. If there are low histamine options, they are included. If they are not, then we talk about them. Once you've printed them up, all you need to do is hit mark completed. That takes you 5 minutes. Yeah, baby. That's the easiest. So let's go back to our modules. Let's scroll right down to the bottom. There, we've done the recipes. We printed them up. Way to go, us. Now, every week, we also do a weekly good food challenge. This one I do for free on my Instagram page, but in the network, we expanded a little bit. So this week on Monday, I threw out the challenge to include some red meat this week for your bones and joints. So in here, we get a little bit more detail. So we get the 3 nutrients that are brought to the table. And I talk about these 3 in the social media posts. So I link out to that as well. But here's the deal. So this links out to the social media post. I give you 10 ways to think about including it. Now, ground beef might be really easy, but things like a roast beef sandwich. What if you made shepherd's pie? What if you made a beef stew? What if you made a beef and mushroom stroganoff? Like, I give you different ideas depending on your skill set and depending on how much time you've got and what you want to make. So these are fairly, well, some are straightforward, some are not. I actually don't even think the shepherd's pie is that straightforward. I think it's still a more involved option. But these are ways to think about including some of these foods. And every time there is a new one, the newest one is up top, and then I bank the earlier challenges down below if you need to go back and revisit. So they're there until the end of the month. Let's go back one step. So back to our written content. We've done the recipes. I just showed you the weekly Good Food Challenge. I want to show you this last piece. This is quite potentially, we have the hot temps. It's time to change the writing here, Luca. So this is about eating with the seasons. So it's a video I did a couple of years ago about the importance on eating with the seasons and how this can be a doorway in actually reducing a lot of inflammation and just supporting the natural rhythms of the body. So we talk about it here, and then I have a handout and a recipe bundle. Oh God, more recipes. Luca, you're welcome. So in this, you can open these handouts and see, give it a think to what might you want to move through the season with? What are those foods you want to reach for? What is the organ maybe we need to focus on at this time of year? And what are ways to move through this season? That's the kind of content we cover here. So it goes beyond nutrition. And this is more a contemplation kind of homework where you can have it live deep in you and just sit with it for a month and open your eyes and observe. That's what this section actually incites you to do. So this is more retrospective or introspective, rather, is what I should say, kind of stuff to it. And when you're done this one, it's already marked completed. We're going to go back to our modules. So I've taken you through everything here in the modules. Now I want to show you a couple of other things. So the chat function here and sessions and overview, these will all give you a little bit of a different thing. So you can look at them. I want to highlight, the sessions are your Zoom sessions, the live ones. The chat, I want to highlight the chat. Every time I do something in the network, you will see it in the chat. I don't love how it takes you a long time to get through the images. There's another way to do it. Do you see up top right here, there's a chat bubble. There's the number 9 above it. That's because I have a lot of messages I haven't looked at. This is how I like to see it. So apologies for participants. So this is where you can also find the chat here, the Good Food Network. So every time I drop something new, I put a comment in the chat. So we've got a new month, same topic. Everything is ready. Print your checklist. Top thing I recommend. This was just as a reminder a few days ago. Print up your things. What's going to go away? What's going to stay? What will be new? There's the information. Now we dropped a bunch of stuff in the module. So you can go check out the module. Next month is ready, just the schedule and the checklist. And every Friday I drop something as an interest piece for the weekend. So there was a hormonal perspective on bones. And when you join the Good Food Network, you'd be able to find it. Our Thursday morning session reminders are in there. Our foods, there's a bunch of different things in there. So every time there's something new that's dropped or updated, I will put something in the chat so you can find it there. The other nice thing when you join the Good Food Network is it gives you the potential to send me questions. This is quite potentially an underused piece of the network that I don't talk about a lot. But you can, I want you to pose questions because I want to make this a two-way street and I want you to get good use out of it. And if it warrants a meetup, then I'll give you information on how to book in with me. But if you have a question like, Luca, I saw you talked about switching to sea salt from my table salt, but I need this is an actual question that came in this week, but I need the iodine from the table salt. Why would I want to switch? She has thyroid issues. So she posted this and sent it to me personally. And then, but what could have happened, she could have put this in the network and posted it here, and then I would answer her there, and it would be there for everybody else who's in the network. So if you are joining us in the network, please use the chat function to drop your questions. If they're a little bit more personal in nature, you can also just send me a direct question. So this will show up in your chats. Hi, Luca. Question about iodine and my thyroid and switching to sea salt. And then you can post it there. And then I will often ask, I didn't in this case, but usually I'll say, are you okay if I put it in the network? And then I will post it in the network and I'll say, somebody was asking about, and then I'll put my answer there so that it's content that's shared with everybody. So it makes it this good. It is a more network that way because of that conversation piece and the potential to ask questions. So for the price of $35, I think it's pretty affordable. And I think you get really good value for your money. And I wanted to set it at a price point that works for you and works for the amount of work that I put into it. There is a lot of work that goes into it from my end. A lot of it is automated though. And the hand holding has really been taken off the table. There used to be a lot more hand holding, and that's off the table now. So that's why the price is so low. So you have to be self-motivated and you got to have the chutzpah to keep going. That is the Good Food Network. So that's a little bit of a tour behind the scenes. So thank you for joining me this week. I will tell you the doors to the network are open every day of the month. I was talking with a client yesterday and she was saying, all of these, like, you have a week to sign up and then it's going to triple in price. She says it kind of undervalues the work that they're doing. I don't like doing that. I don't like the pressure of it. I will join if I want to join. I will understand what the value is if you tell me what the value is. So while I actually think you get a lot more than $35 to the network when you sign up, I think if you set an hour aside, you will get $35 worth. If you set 2 hours aside every week, you will get $80 worth in the network. So I'm setting you with the expectations that at the cost of $35, 1 hour a week will do it. You will not get through all of the content, but I like to think of this as a buffet. When you go to the buffet, so we're a family of 8 in Calgary. Oh my God, my nose is bugging me. When we go to the Chinese buffet to celebrate something, which used to be the thing, we don't do it as much anymore. It doesn't matter. But when we went to the Chinese buffet for dinner, there would be 8 of us. 8 of us would go to the buffet and we would each build our own plate with what it is we liked. Nobody had the same plate. Nobody took everything under the buffet and put it on their plate because it didn't fit. And we were all charged the same amount. It's the very same concept in the Good Food Network. One price, you build your plate with what it is you want, prioritize. I've given you a few tools so that you can help yourself make those decisions. And off you go to the races. I will tell you, this is for the person who's wanted to see me, but says, I can't afford the price point of $660 to see you for a package, but I can afford $35 a month. Fantastic. You will get amazing good use out of this. And I'll tell you, in September, we're switching to the thyroid. So just plant that little seed there. And you will get good use out of this. There's so much content available in there that if you're diligent enough to check in once a week, you will get good use out of it. I also have some folks who have been in it for over a year and actually just go in and print some stuff and sometimes watch the classes. They don't always because life gets full, but they know that they've got that sitting there and they can come back to it. And for a price of $35, it feels doable. So are you going to join us? I sure hope so. I've put a lot of work into this. I'm really proud of what the network has become. I've been building it now for 2 years and we'll be building it for a 3rd year in September, even though I will be in the process of moving to another continent. But it's going to be good. We're going to have stuff you won't even notice from your end in the network. And if you're a client, you just won't talk to me from it. I'll be out of commission for about 3 weeks. I hope you will join us. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you again in the network. Yeah. Salut. À bientôt.